Have you ever watched your toddler do something over and over again and wondered, what on earth are they doing? Maybe they keep lining up objects in perfect rows. Maybe they dump containers just to refill them again. Maybe they push a toy back and forth endlessly, or repeat the same pretend story every single day. To you, it might look random or even strange, but to your toddler, it is actually a language, a developmental code, a communication of their brain's needs. In fact, toddlers don't just play, they reveal. Every repetitive motion, every destruction, every arrangement, every imaginary scene is a message about their growing mind. Their play is not chaos, it's construction. They are literally wiring their brain. And the secret is, if you understand their play language, you will understand your child on a far deeper level. Here's the truth that often gets overlooked. Toddlers cannot articulate their developmental needs with words, but they can express them through play. Their actions speak where their vocabulary can't. That child dumping and refilling objects over and over is not trying to make a mess. They are exploring gravity, volume, prediction, cause and effect. That child lining up toy animals in a perfect row is not being obsessive. They are creating structure, control, and mental clarity. That child who repeatedly destroys towers or knocks things down is not being bad. They are studying power, force, energy, and confidence. Good parenting means learning to see the meaning behind these behaviors. When you stop asking, why are they doing this, and instead ask, what are they learning from this? Everything changes. But here's a common mistake parents make: jumping in too quickly to correct or redirect behavior simply because it doesn't look like adult logic. We often think learning happens when we teach, but the truth is toddlers learn far more from self-directed exploration. Their brain craves patterns, repetition, testing, sequencing, and exploration. And here's the exciting part. When you understand the 8 secret play languages, you'll know exactly when to join in, when to observe, and when to gently redirect. You'll learn how to support your child emotionally, cognitively, and socially, without interrupting the natural developmental momentum of their brain. Before we dive into these 8 fascinating play types, I want to quickly ask you something. Have you ever noticed your toddler doing a very specific repetitive behavior that you didn't understand at the time? Maybe lining up blocks or repeating a story or insisting on dumping everything out? Comment below and describe what you've observed. I'm genuinely curious, and your insight may help another parent feel less alone. And if you're finding value already, make sure to subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint so you never miss another deep parenting insight that reveals what your child is truly communicating through their behavior. Because once you decode toddler play patterns, you gain the superpower of understanding their inner world, their emotions, their curiosity, their problem-solving process, their sense of order, their need for control, and their emerging independence. This is the difference between raising a child by reacting and raising a child by understanding. Let's begin decoding the first toddler play language, the repeater. This is the child who does the same action hundreds of times without tiring. Opening and closing a lid, tapping an object to make a sound, repeating a silly word, or imitating a gesture over and over. Many adults see this and think they're obsessed or stuck. But what's really happening is the brain is strengthening neural pathways through repetition. Every time they repeat the action, they confirm a rule about the universe. This behaves the same way every time. That reliability builds cognitive structure. It also leads to muscle refinement, speech development, and pattern recognition. So instead of stopping repetitive play, allow it and sometimes mirror it back to them. They will feel validated and understood. Now let's move to the dumper. If your child dumps out baskets, pours out toy bins, tips over cups, or empties drawers, then does it again and again, they are practicing cause and effect. They are learning, if I do this, then this happens. They're also developing prediction and sequencing. Instead of immediately insisting they clean up or barking, why must you always make a mess? Try asking, what happens when you pour everything out? Or should we try dumping something heavier, something softer, something noisier? You transform mess into experiment, irritation into curiosity, and frustration into collaboration. Next comes the organizer. This is the toddler who lines up figures, sorts objects by color or size, arranges cars in rows, or organizes toys into groups. Parents often worry, is this a sign of compulsive behavior? But in toddlers, this usually means they are craving order. Their world is big, chaotic, unpredictable. Sorting gives them a sense of mental peace. It allows them to build categories, essential for later math, language, and reasoning. You don't need to disrupt their arrangement or make it more playful. Let their orders stand. You might even sit nearby and quietly observe with soft support. I see you put all the blue ones here. Validation, not interruption. Then we have the transporter. This is the toddler who fills bags, boxes, pockets, and containers just to move items around the house. They push carts, carry baskets, relocate objects from room to room. They're exploring spatial relationships, distance, organization of environment, and the concept of things belong somewhere and I can move them. This is the beginning of internalized mapping. It also gives them a powerful sense of competence. I can change my environment with my actions. Instead of just telling them to put things back, you can support by asking, where do you think this should go? You're guiding the brain toward logical placement rather than forced obedience. Across these first 4 play languages, a pattern emerges. Toddlers are scientists. Their brain is constantly testing hypotheses. If something is enjoyable, they repeat it. If something is confusing, they investigate it. If something is interesting, they categorize it. If something is movable, they transport it. To an adult, this looks like chaos. To a toddler, it is pure learning. And here's the crucial part. These behaviors are not random. They are windows. They are opportunities. They are telling you exactly what your child needs more of. On the next page, we'll explore the most misunderstood play languages, the ones that sometimes frustrate parents the most, and reveal the developmental meaning inside them. Now let's move into some of the play patterns that tend to surprise or even concern parents, starting with the destroyer. This is the toddler who knocks down every block tower, crushes sand shapes, tears paper, and breaks apart carefully built structures. To adults, this can look like aggression or misbehavior. But internally, this is a child exploring physical force, impact, and energy. They're learning, I can cause change. I have power. This is foundational for confidence. Motor control and emotional expression. Instead of scolding or stopping them, try providing objects meant to be destroyed, like foam blocks, cardboard, or kinetic sand, so they can explore their power safely. It's not about preventing destruction, it's about channeling it appropriately. Next is the encloser. This toddler loves boxes, forts, tents, crates, baskets, and enclosed spaces. They crawl inside cabinets, climb under tables, hide under blankets, and show fascination with boundaries. They're seeking containment and a feeling of safety inside structure. They are learning, I exist within space. I am safe within boundaries. This is a natural instinct that supports emotional regulation. Instead of pulling them out or insisting, come out of there right now. You can respect the space by gently asking, would you like to be alone for a moment, or can I sit nearby? You're reinforcing that their need for retreat is valid and healthy. Then we have the connector. This is the child who frequently brings objects together, linking toys, hooking things, pairing items, making characters interact, or connecting tracks. They are exploring relationship, cause, cooperation, and empathy. When 2 figures talk, when 2 objects combine, when 2 shapes meet, your toddler is rehearsing the rules of social interaction. They are studying what it means to bring things, and eventually people, together. When you notice this type of play, you can expand it. What do you think these 2 friends are saying to each other? It's an invitation to deepen emotional understanding and communication. And finally, the storyteller. This toddler narrates pretend scenes, creates characters, repeats imaginary situations, and often reenacts moments that happened in real life. Sometimes they repeat emotionally charged experiences, like saying, you took my toy, or I'm scared, again and again, even if nothing is happening in the moment. This is emotional processing. They are replaying a memory or feeling until they can understand it and find resolution. Instead of dismissing it or correcting their story, try responding with presence. Were you feeling upset when that happened? Or, that sounds important. You validate their inner experience. Here's something powerful. Toddlers don't verbalize their emotions fluently, but they act them out. Play is their language of healing. Play is their way of making sense of life. Play is their emotional outlet. As adults, we often think of play as a break from learning, but for toddlers, play is learning. Their brain is using imagination to analyze reality. Their nervous system is using movement to express energy. Their heart is using play to process feelings. When you start to understand these 8 play languages, something shifts inside you as a parent. You stop seeing randomness and start seeing meaning. You stop feeling frustration and start feeling empathy. You stop trying to fix and start trying to support. On the next page, we'll talk about how to respond intentionally to these play languages, when to join in, when to step back, and how to become a supportive guide rather than a controlling director. Now that we've identified these 8 play languages, the real magic lies not in observing them, but in responding wisely to them. One of the most powerful things you can do as a parent is simply to allow the play to unfold without premature interference. Toddlers need a certain degree of autonomy in play to follow their instinctive learning path. When they dump, sort, stack, connect, or narrate, they are following a neurological curiosity, an inner compass telling them, "This is what I need to build my brain." Joining their play is an art. The best entrance is not by taking over, not by leading, and not by offering instruction, but by mirroring their interest. If they are lining up blocks, you might place one gently beside theirs, not to change the pattern, but to participate. If they are narrating a story, you join with a gentle acknowledgement like, "Yes, and then what happened?" If they are transporting objects, you might help by opening a door or lifting a container. You are not directing, you are supporting. Sometimes the right move is stepping back. For example, when a toddler repeats an activity intensely, they may be working through a deep cognitive process. Interruption, especially with correction, can derail that process. When the destroyer knocks something down, instead of rushing to rebuild, allow them the thrill of impact. When the encloser retreats into a small space, don't pry them out prematurely. When the storyteller repeats a memory, don't rush to change the narrative. You are building emotional safety by allowing expression. Of course, there are also moments when gentle redirection is helpful. If the dumper is about to dump something fragile or something inappropriate, you can redirect the impulse without denying the developmental need. Instead of "No, don't dump that," you can say, "You really like dumping things. Let's find something we can dump." You preserve curiosity while teaching boundaries. That is respectful parenting. When frustration happens, and it will, you can scaffold the emotional moment. A toddler who destroys their own block tower might not be misbehaving. They might be expressing internal tension. You can validate with words like, "That fell over and it made you upset." Naming feelings is powerful. It helps toddlers begin the lifelong journey of emotional regulation. Parents often worry whether they need special toys, perfect Montessori sets, or structured learning environments. The truth is, toddlers can learn from spoons, scarves, rocks, cardboard tubes, leaves, bottle caps, cushions, cabinets, pillows, pots, and empty boxes. The environment doesn't need to be fancy. It needs to be safe, accessible, and responsive. The child doesn't need the newest toy. They need freedom to explore the world, experiment, repeat, and create meaning. What matters most is your attunement, your ability to see the child as a developing mind, not a misbehaving body. When you stop viewing toddler play as mess, annoyance, or randomness, and instead see it as communication, the parent-child relationship takes on depth. Your child begins to feel understood, and that feeling sets the foundation for emotional trust that lasts a lifetime. Understanding your toddler's secret play languages changes the way you see them. Instead of reacting to behavior, you begin to interpret it. Instead of feeling annoyed by repetition, you begin to admire their persistence. Instead of rushing to correct, you become curious. You step into the role of observer, guide, an emotional anchor, not the role of controller or interrupter. One of the most transformative realizations for parents is that toddlers are communicating their needs long before they can express them verbally. When a child seeks enclosed spaces, they are telling you they need comfort and containment. When they destroy structures, they are telling you they need release and power. When they organize objects, they are seeking order in a world that feels too big and unpredictable. When they repeat actions, they are engraving learning into the brain. This shift in interpretation affects your emotional response. That moment when a toddler dumps the cereal box on the floor doesn't feel like a personal test. It feels like a developmental message. That moment when they shove toys into pockets and transport them around the home isn't just mischief, it's mastery. That moment when they repeat a pretend dialogue from daycare isn't drama, it's emotional processing. And that mental shift changes everything. You stop fighting their development and start collaborating with it. You also begin to trust your child's instincts more deeply. Modern parenting culture sometimes pushes the idea that constant adult direction is required for learning. But science shows that toddlers learn best through self-directed exploration. When they get absorbed in a pattern of play, they are following their brain's blueprint for growth. Your role is not to replace their curiosity with adult instruction, but to support the journey they are already on. Another beautiful outcome of understanding their play language is that your child begins to feel seen. When they repeat something and you don't rush them, when they line objects and you don't disrupt them, when they act out stories and you listen, they begin to understand, my inner world matters here. That feeling becomes emotional scaffolding for years to come. Think about it from their perspective. The world is huge, unpredictable, loud, and constantly changing. But through play, they create pockets of control, order, understanding, and meaning. And through your attunement, they feel safe enough to explore it. Even later in childhood, ages 5, 8, 12, these foundations remain visible. Children who were listened to tend to communicate more. Children whose curiosity was respected tend to problem-solve confidently. Children whose emotional expressions were acknowledged tend to regulate better. Children who are allowed to explore tend to trust themselves. And in those quiet moments, when you watch your child absorbed in a pattern of play, you might notice something. You begin to smile, not because you understand the action, but because now you understand the purpose behind it. If this video helped you see your toddler's behavior in a new light, I invite you to subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint and become part of a community that truly seeks to understand children rather than just manage them. And I would love for you to comment below, which of these 8 play languages have you seen most in your child? Your experiences help other parents feel supported, and they help us all grow together. Because when we learn to read the silent language of play, we learn to hear the child's mind long before they have the words to express it.